guys, it's Rebecca. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. Today's video is going to be I think it's my third update for my products I want to use up in 2022. I had last year, around September, I want to say, I picked out a bunch of items that I wanted to use up. And so I'm just going to give you an update of where I'm at this time this year. So since last update, I didn't finish much, unfortunately. And I do have progress on some, but I can tell you for sure, there are 6 items that I haven't gotten to, and I don't think I'm gonna get to at all, just because I don't think I'm gonna need to rotate them into a project pan. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to work on them at all. But I'll show you guys what those are at the end. First, I'm gonna start with the empties. So I do have kind of 2 empties. One you guys would have seen in another project pan. I can't remember what project pan this item was in, but I'm talking about my number 7 skin illuminator. This was a full-size product, and I did use it up in another project pan, and this is all finished, so that's one. And the other thing that I finished was a highlighter that I had frankened onto this palette right here. As you guys can see, or pan, not palette. As you guys can see, this is all empty. And the highlighters that were there were highlighters from this ABH Aurora Glow Kit. And they were the highlighters that were in Helia and Luna, if I'm not mistaken. I had both of them, and I had repressed them together. One was kind of green, silvery, very, very light green hue, and the other one was just silvery white. So I mixed them together, and then I had mixed them also with a little sample of the Laura Mercier Glow Translucent Kit, which I showed the empty in my last update. So for this palette, I was able to use up these 2 highlighters. This shade right here in Orion. This was a teal shade that I frankened onto my Pan palette, and I used it up as an eyeshadow. So technically I finished 2 highlighters that were frankened in here, and the only thing that I have left here is half of this other highlighter called Spectra. It's a purpley shade. If you guys remember, I used part of this to create my Franken bronzer that turned out really muddy, but still somehow I'm able to use it on my face. So I don't know if I'm gonna re-Franken this again once I finish that batch that I finished, or what I really wanted to do was save it and make it into a blush, but because I'm working on a cream blush palette, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to use that up within the next couple of months, so I can have another 2 months to use this up as a blush. So I don't know, we'll see. This thing's gonna, you know, be really, really close to finished by the end of the year. I'm gonna be mad if I don't finish this, because I don't want to keep this palette just for like the littlest bit of product. And I don't know if I've said it before, but I'm not a fan of depotting items onto like a C palette or whatever. I don't like doing that. It's just more satisfying for me to see the product empty like this. So we'll see where I get to with that. But really, those are the only 2 items that I finished, that highlighter and that Franken highlighters from that palette. And everything else is in a project pan. You guys would have seen it or has some sort of progress. So the first thing that I want to share with you guys are things that you guys might have just seen in a previous project pan that I just did. And the first one is this eyeshadow primer from Kat Von D. This is the High Voltage Eye Primer and Corrector. As I mentioned in that other video, the tube here is very sunken in, so I'm very, very close to finishing the product. There's not a ton of product left here, so for sure I'll be able to finish this one by the end of the year, no problem. I was kind of getting worried that I wasn't going to, but I know I am. Then I have this eyeliner from Tarte. This is a Sex Kitten liquid liner. I'm wearing it today. I've been wearing it all year. This has lasted an eternity and a half. I am so surprised. But I feel like now that I'm wearing this eyeshadow that I'm currently wearing right now, it's very glittery and chunky. I feel like that's gonna help kind of use this one up. Usually the glitters and the chunks get stuck on the felt tip. Can you guys see? You can see it right there. It's starting to get stuck on there, so maybe that's what's gonna help it dry it out, because my goodness, this has lasted a long time. I guess you get really good, you know, worth money. Then the last thing, oh no, I have 2 more things. So another thing that's in a project pan, this is a spoiler for, I believe it's that Halloween one. What is it called? The one where you resurrect and cobwebs. I can't remember the name of that project, but this is in it, so spoilers for that update. But this is an eyeshadow quad from Bare Minerals, and this is where I'm at right now. So as you guys can see, last update I still had this kind of cool toned matte brown. It had pan in there, and as you guys can see, this is all done. This shade was already finished, but I am working on this pink shade right here, and it has a lot of, I apologize, it has a lot of, it's very reflective, as you guys can see, but I do have a lot of pan right there. So I have product, maybe 2/3 still of the product left. I'm not worried about not finishing this one. This one has a deadline for October 31st because it's in that project, and I don't think I'm gonna have any trouble using this up. I use it almost every single day to set my eyeshadow primer. Even though it's pinky, I do wear other eyeshadows on top, so it doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, I'm happy of where I'm at with this one, and it'll be nice to have this little quad out by the end of the year. And then last but not least, for items that you've seen in other project pans, this is an eyeshadow from ColourPop that I just recently added onto my Partners in Cream, if I'm not mistaken. And it's the color Six in the City. It's the color that I'm wearing on my eyeshadow, on my eyes today. And this is kind of like the look that I've been going for lately. I know it's kind of dramatic with the dark crease and the red eyeshadow. This is what it looks like right now. And I know it's kind of a little bit dramatic, maybe too dramatic to go to work, but that's what I've been using. So I just want to make sure that I get use out of this guy before it dries out. It's very crumbly. I do use the e.l.f. Glitter glue to apply this, and that's how it looks when I apply it. I'm really enjoying it. I think it looks really good with the dark color, even though it might be too dramatic, but I like it. What can I say? And then I have two more items that are not in project pans, but I've started using. The first one is my foundation stick from Tarte. This is the Clay Stick Foundation in the color Light Medium Neutral. I believe this has been discontinued. Maybe not, I don't know. But this is how much product I have left. I've used maybe 1/4 of it. There'll be a comparison picture somewhere, but yeah, I don't use this every day. It just depends on how I'm feeling, if I'm being lazy or whatever. And honestly, this doesn't really match well with the primer that I'm using. I'm using the Ole Henriksen Banana Brightening primer, and I feel like that breaks this down. I feel like when I don't use that, this holds up a little bit better, but because that other primer is in a project pan, I tend to use that one more often than this one since I can't use them together. So that's that one. And then, oof, one of the dogs farted. It smells really bad. Anyway, oh my gosh. I'm gonna try to get through this really fast. The next item that I'm using is this highlighter from Becca. This is the Vanilla Quartz highlighter. Since I finished this highlighter that I was working on, I figured I have two other highlighters in here, and this is almost half the size of the other one that I have. So I figured if I can use up one more by the end of the year, it would most likely be the one that's the smaller in size. Now this one is cracked. It's been cracked all year. And so I'm gonna show you guys. I haven't repressed it. I've been using it like broken like this because I didn't want to deal with it, but I feel like I'm gonna have to if I want to show you guys like proper progress. But for now, I've used it maybe, I don't know, like less than a week, maybe 4 or 5 days. So I haven't used this very long. So it's not like it's gonna erase the progress, you know, if I repress it now. So I will be repressing this one, and then you guys will be seeing a picture most likely on Instagram, and then that'll be my like starting point, if you will. So I'm gonna put this back because I don't want to drop it. And that is it. That's everything that I'm working on and everything that I think I'll use up. The rest of the items, I'm just gonna go through them so you guys know what I have here, but I really don't think I'm gonna get to any of them. The only thing that maybe I'll get to is the primer that I have here, but everything else I don't think I'll get to. The primer is the YSL Touche Clot Blur Primer. It has a little spatula. Haven't used it at all. We'll see how that goes. Then I have two eyeshadows. One is another ColourPop eyeshadow. This is in the color Fringe. And this one has been used a little bit, but from previous usage before this project. And I haven't used it once since I started it this year. So I would rather use up one than have progress on both. So that's just my mentality. So I'm gonna focus on the red one. And the other one is this I guess it's a pressed pigment. What is this called? It's just called Glam Glitter Eyeshadow. It's from Marc Jacobs, and it has this little thing here to hold the product. It's a very pretty color, very glittery, plummy color. But like I said, I would, if I'm gonna use, I would rather use up something than have progress on everything, if that makes sense. Then I have a bronzer from Bobbi Brown. This is a mini bronzer brick. What is it called? Mini shimmer brick compact in the color bronze. It's just a bronzer. This is where I dug my nail in last update, but you know, it's fine. Then I have my other highlighter. It's from Catrice, the highlighting powder. This is 5 grams, and I was hoping to use it up all over my face like Chic Geek does, or did when she used it up, but I feel like because she's more fair than I am, this worked for her. I don't think this would work for me all over the face, because it does give me quite a bit of glow. So I'll just rather focus and finish the one from Becca. I would rather do that. So, and then last but not least, I have sadly my Urban Decay face palette. This is the Flush palette in the color Native, and this does have a blush, highlighter, and bronzer. I kind of use the bronzer a little bit. Sometimes I use the blush. You guys know I'm using a cream blush on my face, and then I set it with a face powder. Sometimes I go too heavily with a face powder and it just kind of erases my blush. So instead of going back with the cream product on top of the powder, I'll just kind of dab my brush in here and apply it over that face powder. I've done that maybe just a handful of times. Definitely not enough to show any kind of progress on this blush right here, especially because it's a hot pink. I don't need a lot of it. So unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to touch this by the end of the year. So there you have it. That's everything I have for my products I want to use up in 2022. I'm starting to get the itch of collecting items that I could possibly plan for next year, but I'm going to try to wait. I always film these videos very early, and so I'm going to wait a little bit, maybe till October, and go through my collection, see what I'm not going to finish, what I'm not planning on touching. I already have my Panda palette for 2023. As you guys know, I always think like way ahead about that stuff. So I'm excited to show you guys, but that's a topic for another video. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this update, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.